Hi. In this video, I will be demonstrating how to create a task. A task allows your students or candidates to access your tests in a controlled environment. I have already created my tests. Here they are. And I will now move to the tasks by clicking on the button on the menu. So I don't have any task yet, so I click on add new task, and this is the task editor. There are lots of options, so I will go over each option one by one. But when you create a task, you have here all the steps that you will go through. Like you will define your task, you will add here your tests into your task, and then you will define who will access and how they will access this task. You will create some tickets so that people can authenticate themselves. You can send some emails, and then you will check the results. There is also live monitoring, but I will not go into detail in this video. Let's start with creating my task. So I already have a few content here so that I will not write the content again. This is the title of the task that I am going to trade. So it is the title of Management Trainee Recruitment Process. Okay, let's start with saving this task. When you save a task, you will see that the multiple tabs will be activated, and one of them is access. The access is the tab that you will define how people will access the task. You can set some availability dates, or you can modify the authentication method, and you can put a data gathering form prior to starting the task. So I will firstly change the authentication method. I will set it like by invitation code, but I will go into detail about this section in this video. So I save like this, and now at the top of the access tab, you will see a unique URL which is uniquely created for this task. When you copy this link, and when you browse to this link by another browser, this is important because when you browse a task, you may be logged off or in your admin account. So I recommend you to use two browsers to test your configuration. So this is the page that has been created for me. It is a very simple page. I only have the name of my task, and the system requires me to enter my invitation code so that I can get access to this task. There is a language selection menu so that people can change the user interface language. Okay, let's move on. In my task, I click on the task tab again. I will firstly provide a description for this task. Let me copy that. Before pasting this, I will start with adding my company logo here. So company logo, okay. So my company logo, let's align it, okay, and then align left again, and I will add my content. Okay, let's save this. the description part is the publicly available, will be shown in the public available page. So whoever visits the task page, this page, will be able to reach the content that you write in the description. Let's refresh the page and see. Here you are. This is the task title and this is the description about the task. So keep in mind that this content is publicly available because it is prior to the authentication. So we can add a rich content here. You can add your company logo, and you can allow people to download some files, or you can provide some links, etc. Once this is okay, now I will start with telling you about the different options for letting a user to access. The first option is not to require an authentication, so that anybody who visits the link will be able to access the task. The second method is the one that I use right now, by imitation code. When you use this method, the system, as you have already seen here, requires you to enter a valid invitation code so that you can start the task. The other options are, we can ask only one credential. It is like invitation code, but the invitation codes are generated by the system so that each invitation code is unique. But when you choose the authentication method by asking one credential, you are the one who defined the name or the label for the value that you ask people to enter. For instance, you can ask the users to enter their student number, or you can ask the users to authenticate themselves by providing their email, or you can just write any label here. You can say, for instance, your applicant ID, for instance. Let's save this and let's see how my public task page has updated. Let's refresh and see. Okay, now the system asks me my applicant ID so that I can access the task. Okay, so this is the one credential thing. Of course, when you enable an authentication method, you should create some tickets, which we will do later on. And the last authentication method is by asking two credentials. It's just like asking one credential, but now we ask for two things so that the user should provide in order to get access to the task. For instance, your applicant ID, okay, and your password, we can say. Or we can say that your code. I assume that now you provide the applicant ID and code pair so that they know what to provide. Let's save this and let's see how the task page is updated. Okay, now the system requires me to enter two credentials. The first is my applicant ID and the second is the code. Let's update again so that we see how the authentication method by imitation code works. Okay. For it to work, we have to create a ticket for by imitation code, by asking one credential, and by asking two credentials. You have to create tickets so that people can enter valid veiled values. For instance, if it is invitation code, now when I create a new ticket, the system only asks me to write a display name. Like I can say, okay, this ticket is for Mustafa. I can write his email here if I want to send an invitation. If I will not send an invitation, email invitation I mean, I do not have to enter the email. Let's for now write the email also. So I can tag this user so that when the test is over, when the user completes the task, that can help me organize the attendees. For instance, I can say that this user is group G100, for instance. I added such a tag. I can also set the availability date so that I will restrict this user only to be able to access the task between some given dates. But I will not go into detail in this. Okay, when we create a new ticket and the system provides a unique invitation code for this user. When I copy this code and I go back to my task page, let's refresh. Okay, now I can provide the valid invitation code and the system will recognize me as Mustafa and will allow me to access the task. So I am now in the task, but as you see, there is nothing. So let's put some content. On the task tab, as a second step, I will provide the instructions. The instructions part is the content that only people who have been authenticated to the task will see. So let's add a content here also. I have already created a content. I can add my company logo again, but I will not do it, but it is just the same process. You can click on adding an image. You can align your logo as I already did in creating the description content. Okay, so let's save the task. We have also provided an instruction. And the instruction, when I refresh my task page that I have already logged in, now I will be seeing my task title and I will have a unique room ID and I have some instructions about this task. But still, this task is empty. There is an instruction, but nothing else. So let's move on. As a third step, I will provide the tests that this task will have. So I will add I can add one or multiple tests into this task. I will start with adding my first test. It is the general knowledge test. Let's add this. When I add a test to my task, if I save it, if I refresh here, I will see that now my task has a test. So I can start the test. Now let's configure the test. I click on the pencil icon here, and for this test I can provide another short description, and this description will be only about this test. So let's copy the content, let's paste that. Now I will, okay, it's okay. Let's save and see how it changes. Now I refresh. Now I will also see that it may take a time because of the caching of the browser. we have to make a hard reset, I think. Let's make a hard reset so that the browser doesn't oh, I didn't save that. Sorry for it's my bad. When I click on the pencil icon, I put the short description, but I didn't save. Okay. Now let's refresh again. Okay. Now I have a description for this particular test. Okay, so we are developing our task. We had already a general description or general instruction for the task, and now for each test we can have another instruction. Okay, so when I click on start, I will have an empty confirmation dialog. Are you sure? Confirm, cancel. Okay, we can add some content into this step also. So let's go and add some notice. And I will add this content there. You are about to start the test, your timer will start. Let's save this step. Okay, and let's refresh. Okay, so when now I click the start button, now I see my content. You're about to start the test, your timer will start. So we notify or we warn the user about the actions that the system will take. Okay, I still don't start the test yet. What else do we have? For each test in your task, you have many options. The first one is availability. There are three ways to set up the availability. The first one is for the task. So for access, in access tab, you already see that there is an availability here. So this is about providing a data interval so that people can access the task. Now we are already in the task because we can see the tests in the task. And the second is, as you remember, when you create a ticket, you can set a custom availability for the ticket. I have already shown you, but when you create a new ticket, there is also another availability. This will be for this particular user only. And the last availability option is for each test. So when I edit this step, there is an availability section, and I can say here like I will select my GMT. It will be this one, and let's say that the test will be available after 10 o'clock, and now it is almost 20 past 9. When I save this, if I refresh, okay, now I see that there is a test, but it is not active yet, and there are like 41 minutes so that the test will be activated. Okay, so this is how the availability settings work. We can also set an active before date in the availability section. For instance, I can say this test is available before 18th of October, but now I will say it is up to 8 in the morning. Now I remove this so that you understand how it works. Now because the time is past, did I save it? Oh, I didn't select the right GMT, sorry, my bad again. Okay, for GMT 3, 8 o'clock in the morning, it is already 9, so the system will not allow me to take the task. Yeah, So now in this task, I cannot access this test because it is not active anymore. Okay, so let's move on. I will remove the dates so that I can continue. You can deactivate just by clicking into this button also. So when you deactivate, no matter what the date is, this test will not be active. As you see, the test is not active yet. So some companies prefer to use this method because they live in a very vivid environment, so they want to activate whenever they want, and they want to deactivate whenever they want. So they use this button. It's also very convenient. Okay, let's move on. We can allow the user to take this test multiple times, or we can limit by only one. By default, it is only one, so that the user will only be able to take the test once. Okay, availability section is over. The second is the tech stack restrictions. How it works? So there are lots of browsers, platforms, operating systems, and engines, and you may want the user to take your test in a particular environment, or you may restrict the user to take the test in a particular environment. For instance, here the default option is allow all excluding the selected one. So we will be picking what we want to exclude. Let's say that we want to exclude desktop and tablet, for instance. Okay, allow all excluding. Okay, I save this. Now if I refresh, oh, the task is still not active. Let me activate that again. Okay, save that, and I refresh the task public page. I am already logged in, so I am in the task. Now what we have done is we restricted a few platforms because I use a laptop right now and a desktop right now, and we have restricted the users to access this test via a desktop, so I cannot access the test. So this is how the restriction for different technologies work. Now we will go on with another option, configuration. I will first remove those so that I can still access. Okay, let's move on. The third configuration is monitoring and safety. So there are some monitoring, also known as proctoring methods. The first option is no monitoring. The second one is taking pictures, so that the system will take pictures randomly during the examination through the webcam of the user, of course. And the third option is recording a video during the examination. And like taking pictures, but this one records webcam video during the examination. So let's set it record video. And the security option is we can enforce the user to take the test in full screen so that he cannot open other windows or apps during the exam. If they close somehow the test screen, the system will automatically end the test. So we will enforce full screen. And in the notification step, we can enter our email address. I will enter my email address here so that whenever a test is done, I want to be notified. And the last one is the reporting options. And this is the reporting options. This one is is the setting so that do we want to report um, the result of this test by making a comparison. So the default is don't make a comparison, but we can select it. We can select the second item, like compare the result with other results in this task, or we can compare the results with other results of the same test across all of the tasks that we have created. Okay, so let's leave it like this for now. And do we want to report? Do we want to display the test score after the test ends to the end user? If we want to, we can click on display summary, and we can also display the summary compare and with additional information, which is the comparison. For now, I will not show those settings. Okay, I am almost done. Now, my invitation code. Okay, so I am almost done. So can I start the test now? I confirm. Okay, because we have selected a monitoring method, now the system requires me to allow my webcam, allow the system access my webcam. So I understand, I allow. Okay, now I see my video on the screen. So if everything works, I click on I am ready, start the test. So if you require video monitoring, obviously people will be required to have a webcam. And the second security option that we have set is full screen mode. So now the system requires me to move into full screen so that I can take the test. Okay, I accept that. Now I am in full screen mode. As you see, I cannot open other tabs or windows or applications during the test. If I do, by clicking some Windows button or something else, the system will warn me about that. But if I don't come back very quickly to the test screen, the system will end the test. And we don't allow the user to repeat this action. Okay, our test has already started. I will not go into details about conducting or taking a test because we have already walked through how to create a test and how to preview the test. So I close it. Okay, when I close the test, it is already finished. When you set full screen option, the user cannot continue your test later on because we require full screen, so we don't allow the user to continue. So if you want the user to be able to continue a test, you should not enable the full screen setting. Okay, so when a test is over, in the task, in the results tab, when you refresh, you will see that, oh, there is a new test has been taken by Mustafa, and this is the email address, this is the invitation code that he has used, this is the test that he has taken. This test has been taken in full screen and we have recorded some video, and the score is 0% for each section. And also, so when I click on report, I will see a summary and my answers for each page and information about how I started the test, through which platform. This is the content, and this is the flow. So I know exactly what happened during the test. I started the section and then I have seen the second page, and that's it. So here you can see which pages the user browsed, how long he stayed in a particular page or section, how many questions in a particular page, how many questions in the whole section, how many are answered and not. So there are some stats for each page and section. On the monitoring part, if your tests has been taken.
If you require video monitoring, obviously people will be required to have a webcam.
Okay, as you see, this is the video that has been recorded during the examination. So as an admin, you can watch all the videos. Let's also see the first video, which is the shortest one, a few seconds only.
Start the test.
Okay, this is the first video that the system captured when you allowed your webcam. And for every minute you will have another video.
If you require.
Okay, so this is how monitoring works. We have also lots of logs about the test, but I will not go into detail about this. Another option is that we can reset up the exam. For instance, the user can say that, for instance, I was in the middle of an exam, but my phone rang, or my internet connection is down, or something bad happened so that I couldn't continue. So I can click on reset up. Now I have a few options. Because the system already knows that the user has only seen the section 1 and page 1, I will simply unlock them. And I will provide some times for this. For instance, for the first section, normally the system allows you to have 5 minutes. Let's give a little less, for instance. Okay, if I save this, now the exam will be updated, so that when the user refreshes the page, now he will be able to take the test, to continue the test from where we have set up. So when I click on continue, I am again allowing my webcam. I'm seeing myself again. I confirm. I have to move to full screen. That's okay. Okay, as you see, I am already on page 2, and I have been given a few minutes more, so I can now continue my exam from where I am left. Let's pick some answers. Confirm. Okay, let's now finish this test again. The test is over. I am back. I have done the test one time, so it is over for me. Now on the admin panel, I will refresh the results, and I will see that, okay, the test has been done again. Now I have some points. I click on report. Now on the answers, I will see that I have for answers for all of the pages. And on the flow, now I will see that I have advanced a little bit more, up to the second section actually. Okay, I think that has been done. So now I will show how to create multiple tickets to a list of people, for instance. Okay, for this I will go to the tickets tab, and here I have a few options. I can create a new ticket one by one, or I can import tickets. When I click on import tickets, there is already a template for me. For instance, if I use this template, I will understand how the template works. So the first thing that I write is the full name or the display name, and then there is a comma, and then there comes the email address. The email address is not required, so you can remove this address for from all of the tickets, and that will also work. For instance, now I will say that create ticket for Simon Sarah and Albert Einstein. Let's continue. Now I am saying that this is the full name of the people. I continue. Okay, now I have created 2 tickets at once, and each has a unique invitation code. Okay, let's import again. Import tickets I will use, but this time I will write. For instance, the first is for Ahmed. I write a comma and then Ahmed at testinvite.com. And the second is, let's say, for Mike. And so Mike at testinvite.com. The third one, let's say it's for Sarah. So Sarah at testinvite.com. Our clients mostly use Excel or other spreadsheets to build such a list so that they can just paste it here and click on continue. I simply select the correct labels for the data that I have just entered. Those are my full names and those are the emails. That's okay. Okay, this is the list that I am going to import. That's okay. So here I have created some more tickets. I will finally show how to import tickets, but also I will add some tags to these tickets so that I can easily understand who is who. For instance, let's say that I create a ticket for Michael, and the email is, let's say it's michael@testinvite.com, and then I will write a department name. For instance, let's say that this is the department that he is applying. This is how I tag this user. And the second one, let's say it's Boriana at testinvite.com, and here the department is, let's say it's accounting. So I continue. Oh, let's go back and add another one so that I can demonstrate another thing. I will also write Furkan at testinvite.com. Let's say that Furkan also is applying to the sales department. Now I have my data organized. This is the full name, this is the email, and this one I create a label like this is the department. I continue. Okay, I confirm everything. Okay, 3 tickets more has been created, but now I have some tags. For Michael it is department sales, for Boriana it is department accounting, for Furkan it is department sales. Okay, so let's not select any of them, and I will show you why I have created such tags. Because now I can select the tickets that have been tagged by department sales. I simply copy that and I write it filter. So when I write in the filter field, now I only see the tickets that are for Michael and Furkan because they have tags department sales. So let's select those tickets, and now I want to send an email. Okay, this is the email invitation module. It already shows me that there are 2 recipients loaded. It is Michael and Furkan. And this is the subject. Let's add the subject here. This is the content that I have already created for the email. I will say, for instance, let's start with a placeholder like name. So this will be replaced by the recipient name. As you see, there is a preview here. So the subject is now Furkan because it is the name that we have entered for this ticket. Okay, Furkan, you are invited for management trainee recruitment process, for instance. Okay, let's see the subject. Okay, now let's add an email content. Hello, thank you for applying for the management training position at Acme company. Please click the button below to take the pre-employment tests. Okay, so I will add here a task link so that the user will have his own unique task link, and I will write a label, go to the assessment page, for instance, and I can enable direct login. I add, okay, here we have a button, and I say also, alternatively, you can visit the URL below. Okay, here I will add the URL of the task. Okay, and proceed with your invitation code. Okay, now here I will put another placeholder for the user's invitation code. Okay, and then I will end. Thanks. Okay, so here is the preview of the email. Hello. I didn't enter. Let's enter a name here also. Hello Furkan. Name. Okay. So hello Furkan, thank you applying for. Okay, I can click on this. Alternatively, you can visit the URL, this one, or proceed with invitation code, this one. Okay, this email is perfect. So let's set a sender name. It is Acme company. And if the user replies to this email, which they may reply, I want them to reply to Testinvite, info@testinvite.com, so that I am notified. I can schedule this, the sending of this email. I can say that, for instance, okay, send this email in October 18th, but at 2 o'clock in the, let's click my, let's GMT, okay. Okay, now, if I click on send emails, the emails are to be sent in a date, on a specific date, so they are waiting. When I have created, when I have firstly sent an email, when I go back to my tickets, let's remove the filter. Now I can also send an email to Boriana very quickly. So I click on email, so everything is ready, but for Boriana. So I can also say, okay, send this email right now. As you see, the first emails have been scheduled to be sent at 2 p.m. but the last one is to be sent immediately, so in a few minutes. So when I refresh this, of course it takes 1 to 2 minutes at most to send, so it will be sent in a few minutes. We will just wait for that. So that I can also show you how the system tracks the emails, so that we can understand which email have been opened, clicked, and so on. Let's continue clicking. Okay, I need 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, I think we have gone over a lot of things, but I will finally add one more test to my task. The second test is aptitude test. Let's add to the task. So when the user now visits this page, now he will be able to take another test. Here it is. We didn't put any description yet, so let me edit the settings for this, for the second test. And I think these are okay, these are the instructions for the second step. Let me put the instructions, and I will also add a similar notice prior to starting the test. I can again set the availability for this test. I can restrict the the platform, operating system, or browser that the user can use in order to start this test specifically. So for each step you have these options. For instance, for the first test, you may not require a monitoring like video capturing or taking photos or full screen enforcement, but for this test you may. Okay, so all the options are there. Okay, so when I refresh that, okay, now I see that I see the descriptions, instructions for the second test also, so I can start the test. If I click here, I have the same consent. Okay, I think we have gone over that. Let me check the email status. Okay, so this email is now in queue, which means that we have started the sending process, and it will be sent. Maybe it has already been sent. We will update this and we will see. Okay. Are there anything else? Yes, a final thing. I can, as you see that there are 2 tests in this task. I can also say that only people who have a score above some percentages will be able to take the second test. I can make such a restriction. If I click on the pencil, edit icon or edit button on the aptitude test, I see that I have the options for preconditions. How it works? It works like this. I choose a step. I say here that for the first step, the user must be completed. If you want the user to take the steps in the order that you want, you can use this only. Or I also want that the user has the score greater than 50. And do I want to show this step if the criteria is not met? Only show, always show this step. Add. Okay, now I have a precondition for this step. I save that. Now let's refresh. Okay, as you see, I see that there is another test, but I cannot proceed because I haven't got a score higher than 50% in the first test. Let's finally check my email again. Okay, now the email has been sent. And do we have any feedback? The only feedback we have is that it has been delivered. So if I want to refresh the feedbacks, I can refresh. So if the user clicks on, opens the email or clicks on a link on the email, we will see here that this email has been clicked in at that time. Okay, a final thing. I will also show you how to create some tickets if we want the user to be able to access our task by one credentials. Okay, and this is your applicant ID. Let's call it only applicant ID. Okay, now I save my task, and here I log out of my task. I am done with this. Okay, let's go back to this URL. Let's see the, okay, now I am again at the public page of the task, and here the system requires me to enter an applicant ID. So I have to, as an admin, provide applicant IDs that are valid. This is again on the tickets section. So none of these tickets have applicant ID defined, because our authentication method was not like that when we have created those tickets. Now when I click on new ticket, I will see that I have to enter an applicant ID. Let's say that it is 001. And who is this? This is for Kemal, for instance. Let's save. Okay. As you see that this ticket is different than the tickets that we have created previously, because the previous tickets only have imitation code, but this one has also the first credential, which is your applicant ID. So if the user provides a valid applicant ID, if I continue that, I am able to enter the task again. So I can take the first test, and if I have a score of more than 50%, I will be able to take the second test. Okay, I think we have gone a very long way. I hope that make it very clear for you how to create your task with all the settings to set up a controlled environment. Thank you very much.